Completely. I got some shit in my hair, dude. Let's not worry about it. It's
You don't look
yeah,
like the profile picture at all. Who is that
whatever,
guy?
dude. But yeah, fuck it. But yeah, let's get down to brass tacks. So I'll tell you what, man, is that I've been so hardcore libertarian, anti-government, all sorts of dumb stuff, anti-vax. Like, dude, why do we trust
Okay, let's
these
not talk
systems
about
of
that too
government?
much. That's
Mhm.
a sensitive YouTube topic.
Immigration.
Very. Let's not talk about the jabs. That's a sensitive YouTube topic. But yeah, we can talk about immigration, or we can talk about whatever else you want. But yeah, what is your stance on immigration and libertarian? I thought you were hardcore right wing like Alex Jones.
Well, so technically, hardcore right wing is libertarian to a degree. I mean, libertarian in a sense where they believe in like it gets to a point where it's less government, more community control, more localized, where we police our own. We don't set a precedence where we have this federal overreach and this control and where we're taxed so freaking much. So libertarians have it kind of skewed, but I believe that, true Republicans, true conservatives is the better term. They are more or less aligned with libertarians more than like, say, for example, Rhino Republicans.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I am kind of libertarian myself, but I do still believe in borders. Are you an open border guy, or you just believe in fixing the
No.
immigration system, or what are your thoughts about that? Because I debated
So,
someone earlier, and they said they were open borders, but I actually
mm,
surprised. I changed their mind a little bit.
mm,
They went from being open border to not being open border, which that's like I don't think they wanted to admit it, but they basically said, "Oh wait, never mind. Actually, I do want a." Closed border.
so yeah, how would I say? If you want to call it Nazi, what I was gonna say when you're talking about touchy subjects, I'm not gonna say I'm a Nazi. That's stupid, man. That freaking coin phrase has been thrown about so much. But nationalistic. I believe that nations need to be nations. They need to be American. They need to be Polish. They need to be Mexican. And people stand proud on their identity and their entire culture, man. That's their essence since the beginning of time. That's
Yeah, I
what it's
agree with you 100%. I think Italy should be Italian. I think mostly Italian. There can be a few immigrants here and there, but I think they should be majority Italian people. Poland, I think,
Mhm.
should be majority Polish people. And, I think that for every single country. But if you say that you're nationalistic, people will say, oh my God, you're a racist. How dare you? You don't want invaders to take over your
fascist,
country.
fascist. That's the thing, and they love throwing around like Nazis and fascists. Dude, my dad should have been a college professor. Dude, he grew me up on like history of World War I and World War II, all this different stuff about Stalin and Hitler and dude, no, these guys have no idea what fascism is. They have no clue at all. You know, or communist or any of this stuff. And it's like that type of stuff is so much more deplorable than what Trump is, compared to like, I mean, shit, if he did a single thing like the things that they do in China, like if you just like you had a guy, you have so many people where they unveil a banner on a bridge that says China does not belong to Xi Jinping, and them and their family are gone, kidnapped. The guy has
Yeah, no
forever
kidding. But they'll
disappeared.
scream at the top of their lungs, fascist, fascist country, dictator, dictator Trump.
Oh, and they'll say that, like, dude, I've had people like talk to me. Then, dude, this goes back for years. I've had people talk to me like, dude, I'd much rather live under China than under Trump. Like, and I'm telling them this same thing. And it's like you have no idea like, in the sense, if you were fascist or if like Trump, was fascist, then like you wouldn't be able to have a single word. You like, dude, you would be done. Your family would be black bagged.
Some people are
It's
saying in the
ridiculous.
comments right now, people are getting arrested for protesting ICE. Actually, no, they're not getting arrested for protesting ICE. They're getting arrested for shooting at ICE and shooting them in the neck and the back of the head and shit
Well, like
like
heck,
that. No one's getting arrested for protesting ICE. They have their
I
First
was like,
Amendment rights.
well, like, all right, so when they say protesting ICE, we're talking about BLM stuff. Like, I was around since, like, dude, I'm Minnesotan born and raised. I was
Oh,
around
Jesus.
Minneapolis most of my life. I saw that whole freaking deal, you know, I don't want to talk about it, man. I definitely got in the thick of it, just like illegal and whatnot. And by the grace of God, I am where I'm at now. But dude, protesting is not flipping cars and burning stuff over and pretending like life's GTA. You
They
know,
were crying their eyes out. They said, "How dare Trump send in the National Guard during the ICE riots?" But one thing the news didn't really talk about was that they found a dead body at right next to one of the stores they were looting. I believe it was an Apple store people were looting in. They found a dead corpse next to that store they were looting at 3 or 4 a.m. It's been like 3 months now, 2 months now, and they never said the cause of death. And they completely threw it under the rug. Only one news outlet covered it, which was the New York Post, or maybe it was the
yeah,
Los Angeles Times. I don't really remember, but double tap that screen, guys. Hit that like button. But yeah,
yeah,
man,
no,
it's
end
just
all be
crazy.
all. Well, it's just stupid where you have so much stuff that's covered up, and you have good and bad people everywhere. My heart belongs to Latin America, Latinos through and through. You have no idea. Fluent in Spanish. I've lived there a lot of my life. I deal with them more than I like them, honestly. Here's the funny thing is that I'm not racist, but if I was, like, Mexicans can be racist, and I'm a little bit, dude, I get sick of the entitlement. I get sick of like the complaining. I get sick of like being soft, you know, and like, man, I'm about ready to work wildland firefighting. That's gonna be 90 hours a week, here in a minute.
Hmm.
It's to go ahead and bring my fiance here, who works 6 and 7 hour days, and she knows about 3 words in English, 3 or 5 words. Guess what? My family loves her. There's no one else that has been brought around. She is such a family oriented person, and they're just such fucking kind, friendly, happy go lucky people as a majority. But then you got a lot of six fucks in that. I mean, it's a 1.2 billion population. You get a lot of twisted people, but the problem is that it's not really a problem. The problem is that in their culture, not only do you have the good ones who stand up, they have them and their families um eradicated. They have them murdered. Drive-by shootings. You have police officers, politicians. This last election that we had in Mexico was 58 politicians. 58 candidates, presidential candidates were assassinated. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm
And
not
that
gonna
includes
lie. I
families.
don't really know about the president of Mexico, but she's a woman, and I'm not too
She's
sure
a
about
Jew.
her.
Oh, and she's
But
a
I will
Jew
say
too.
a lot of my. Sorry, what'd you
Anyway,
say?
she's a Jew too.
Oh,
How
I
did
didn't
that
know that.
happen?
Actually, no, I think I heard that before. But
Mhm.
I will say a lot of my family, like my family-in-law, like some of the people in my family married Mexicans. Like I have, two different in-laws, two different sets of in-law families that are Mexican, and one of them came in illegally. Like they jumped over the border. Well, they didn't jump over the border. They hid in a barrel
Mhm.
and they entered the country illegally. But then they realized they had a legal pathway to citizenship for their family, and they gained their citizenship rather quickly. And now they don't support the illegal border jumpers. They don't like they support immigrants and whatnot, but they support Donald Trump. They don't support, like, even though they entered illegally, they could change their mind on it completely. They're like, hell no, like that brings a lot of shit. I mean, they basically got trafficked. I mean, she was a woman. She's only 16 or 17 years old when she entered the country, and the coyotes just sneaked her in.
Yeah. Well, you get to a point too. So here's a big, like a crucial like factor that liberals completely miss is that you are funding one of the most satanic, evil, greatest criminal organizations, syndicates that this world has ever known. Open borders, that's like their top three. Human trafficking is their top three, top two, before Trump, before Biden, sources of income. And guess who they're bringing over? Who's the big money? So I know this from personal account. So I teach English as a volunteer. And this, I know a lot of guys, and I'm not going to say anything because it's like all this stuff's online, but you know, I don't care. I literally, maybe most of them are illegal. I don't give a shit. All right. They're my people. I know them through and through. I've worked with a bunch of them. I've done this for like 12 years, 15 years. My first friends, well, not my first friends, but I was their first best friends was when I was 12. And I'm 36 now. So everything's said and done, though, it's the Chinese. The Chinese pay big money, you know? That's who's being trafficked over. you know? So you have this not only a doorway opened, and you're funding the world's biggest criminal organization through human trafficking, and they're just shipping this over or shipping them over like cattle. You know, I mean, fuck. But then you're also bringing all these terrorists and these like, spies and other infiltrators. I kind of
I
have a
forget the
bone to
name of the
pick.
group, but literally, there's a gang in Mexico. Maybe you can tell me. I don't really know the name of the group or anything like that, but they have a religion in Mexico that's satanic. They worship the devil. I mean, it's a very
Santa de la
small
Muerte.
minority of people. Sorry.
Santa de la Muerte. So it's the saint of death. But that's like widely known. It's not just a group, it's widely known throughout cartels and just
Yeah, a
through the
lot. That's
whole
what I'm saying.
culture
All
of
these
murder.
cartels, they worship this shit. It's disgusting.
Yeah, big time. That Breaking Bad stuff where you ended up having the twins, the serial killer twins, for anybody who knows, doesn't matter. But where they're walking on their hands and knees and crawling over to the saint, the saint of death. That stuff's real. That stuff's real, and they do stuff, man. That women, children, and babies. It's freaking sick. You know, if you go ahead and follow a lot of these other guys and the stories that I've heard, I mean, you're talking about chainsaws. I mean, women and the innocent, it's deplorable. And the Mexican people, like, they suffer. They suffer because of this. And that's
Because of
sad.
the satanic bullshit they do now. When the Democrats are literally protecting some of these Satanists and these satanic
Mhm.
organizations and people that are actually being charged with human trafficking, like Obrego Garcia, which his wife has also admitted that he beat on her. And even though she retracted her charges, she said, "Oh, he got therapy. We're going to therapy together." The Democrats are
Whatever.
protecting these satanic individuals.
It's all
He
about
probably did
this.
give her some money. He probably did give her
Yep.
some money. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden she says, "Oh, well, I would like to retract my charges." What state do you live in where the government doesn't intervene and say, "Oh, we don't care if you retracted your charges. We're going to prosecute you." Like every other state, everywhere other place, they would just prosecute you regardless. I mean, wasn't he a
Yeah.
Minnesota a man or whatever, quote unquote Minnesota
Really?
man? Where was he from
Uh,
again?
you got a bunch of stupid, messed up stuff that's happening in Minnesota, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
What do you think about Governor Tim Walz?
Oh, Tim
Tampa
Walz.
Tim.
I've checked out. I've checked out on Minnesota. Thank God I'm in Oregon now. Not like it's any better, but we have a dichotomy, between like left and right. Most of the rural is like hardcore gun rights, anyways. But Tim Walz, I don't know. I left here 5 years ago, or left there 5 years ago, but it was going to shit. It's an absolute shithole.
Oh,
Instead of
so you
like
left right
Portland.
around as soon as they started burning shit to the ground after George Floyd died of fent.
I'll say like 21, so 2020. And I'll just go ahead and, dude, just bear my heart. Not a big deal, but I was in a kind of not in the depths, but I was in the drug thing. There was a really good connection. I had people that were involved, and I was involved with the inner city for a minute, just for like purchasing drugs. But that's one of the things that's a lie. Being like a '90s kid, that is such a freaking it's such snake oil. Is that living a criminal lifestyle and living that Tech Nine type of crap, it ends to nowhere good. And the drugs have gotten worse, to an nth degree. And it's like it shows its true form, where you have all these synthetic fake ass drugs. These people are so fucked up. It's ridiculous to the stuff that I did, back when I was 19 and 20. Oh, it's freaking insane. And it's obvious, like, you just go ahead and look into it. You just go and break it down, look into it. Oh, yeah, China. China's supplying all this shit. You know,
Oh
it's a
yeah, I mean
freaking
literally,
form of
they
warfare.
supply fentanyl to Mexico. They supply a lot of the chemicals and the ingredients that the
Yeah,
cartels cook up and sell into America. And they sell a lot of fentanyl into America in general. And then people will complain. They'll say, "Why is Trump doing all this shit to China?" It's not only because they are doing unfair trade practices. It's also because they're killing our fucking people. Just like he's going after Mexico's head. I mean, I love the Mexican people. We love the Mexican people. We all like Hispanic food and Hispanic people and beautiful Hispanic women. But like, holy shit! Like, we cannot be having this kind of drug trade or these satanic cartels or these like devil worshiping people do this kind of bullshit.
Oh hell no. Well, that's the thing too, is that you have one of the generals. A lot of stuff that I ended up watching in like 2014 and 2016. A lot of it got censored, like the Iran Contra affair. Let's see, Ted Gunderson too. Like that stuff got blacked out and erased from YouTube to a degree. Like you couldn't look the videos up anymore. Everything's said and done. Like you have one of their generals talking about generational warfare. You have different generational, like economical warfare, propaganda warfare. It's warfare is not fought with gun and bullets anymore. It hasn't been for 20 years. And that's what he says. Yeah, you create uncivil, well, how would you say? Civil unrest. Civil unrest, you generate the populace, through these pharmaceutical, not even pharmaceutical, but you know what I mean, recreational, drug abuse warfare. It's a great way to deteriorate a society to make them into, a bunch of, dumbed down, um, robbers, thieves, rapists, all this other shit who just have like this low level of education. It's horrible, dude. That's where Satanists like. That's honestly that's wicked.
People are commenting about Canada down below. I mean, if you guys know anything about Canada, I can give you a little bit of a briefing because I had a conservative Canadian on here. How do I get in
Yeah.
line for a debate? I mean, you can join the Discord, but I already have some people that are, waiting after him. So, you're
Mhm.
going to be a little bit behind the wait. But silence, if you want to be after him, drop a $20 super chat. But yeah, if you know anything about Canada, man, I love Canada. I love Canadian people. I love Canadian culture, but it's so sad to see what's going on. I knew there was an immigration problem going on in Canada, but I didn't understand exactly how it worked. And this guy really explained it to me really, really well. He said, so basically, here's how it works in Canada. If you enter illegally, or if you overstay your visa, or if you just, you can break any immigration laws, X, Y, Z, as long as you either apply for university or get a job or any of this shit, it's all forgiven. Like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter about a background check. It doesn't matter about any of that bullshit. As long as you get a job or as long as you start a business or you go to a university, they just say, oh, well, we know you've been here for 10 years illegally and have been doing illegal crimes, and we don't really care about a background check, but we'll just let you stay here. Like, dude, Canada is going to go to shit. Like, that is literally worse than that's like literally a worse immigration policy than Europe. Like, Western Europe has a huge problem, especially the UK. I would say it has the worst problem with illegal immigrants, and the UK doesn't have the nice part where we're just dealing with Hispanics. The people that the UK is dealing
Yeah,
with are full
that's
blown
so true.
radical Islamics. I mean, at least we just have some Hispanic people and some African and Indian people. They have full blown radical Islamics entering and invading their country. Like, that doesn't seem right to me in any which way. Like, that is horrific. Like, their crime rates are going higher and higher. Some studies even show that their crime rates are higher than ours. So that just shows you banning the guns and doing all this and that. And I understand why all these radical Islamics are coming there because they have a food stamp program just like America. But when you go there and you're an illegal immigrant, they'll just give you that shit right away. And unlike America, they don't just give you an EBT card; they give you cash money directly to your account. So
Yep.
if you're a radical Islamic, why
True.
wouldn't you just go over there and suck up all those British benefits?
Your place first. So like you go there illegally and your place first before the citizens by like a lot, by a
Yeah,
ton.
many
You know.
many British citizens tell me this.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I actually have a buddy that's been in Britain all his life, and then also a friend from Canada. He's doing a bit better, but yeah, end all and be all. It's a global like push. But
Yeah, that's what I
I
don't
don't know, man.
understand. I think that the economic forum and some kind of new world order is, pushing this bullshit down their throats. I know EU, for example, is pushing all these European countries to accept all these illegal immigrants in. Well, Poland said, "Fuck you. We don't care if we're part of the EU. We're not letting any illegal immigrants in." And look, barely anybody tries to jump over the Poland border. Barely anybody tries to enter Poland illegally now because a lot of people will scream their lungs out and say, well, why does Poland shoot to kill anyone jumping over their border? Well, a lot of people don't know the story of what actually happened. I have a Polish friend that I let on this live stream, and he told the story to everyone. So a couple years back, they were just, they had regular borders just like ours. They were deporting people, yada, yada. But then this guy was jumping over the border. He chucked a spear at one of the immigration police
Yep.
officers and killed the
Hmm.
dude. And ever
Yep.
since they killed that dude, they vowed anyone that's trying to jump over our border, we're gonna shoot to kill. We're militarizing this shit. And now barely any people are trying to jump over that border. They basically have zero, you know, immigrant or zero illegal immigrants, but they are a lot of the Polish citizens don't really like the Ukrainian people because they're accepting them. I mean, Poland's super strict to get in. Even if you want to immigrate there as an American citizen, it's like impossible. But like they're accepting a shit ton of Ukrainian people, and a lot of the Polish people really hate the Ukrainians and they really hate the Polish. And because there's
Yeah.
a I forget the story. I'm not Polish and I'm not really Ukrainian, so I would have to I would have to ask them exactly. But I believe uh, uh, there's one group in Ukraine that supports the genocide of the Polish people. Like they killed a lot of Polish people during World
Yeah.
War II or something like that, and a lot of these Ukrainians still support this group, and they're coming over to Poland. I don't know the full situation. I really don't know it, but that's basically the briefing that I was told about it, and they're sick of it. They don't want to have anything to do with either
Mhm.
sides.
Yeah, no, and no, and be also there is some neo-Nazism that actually is on the Ukrainian side. It's been there since
That is
2014,
factual.
2015. Yep, absolutely. My brother and sister, my little brother and sister, and I'm saying too much, but they're from the next region. We adopted them about 20 something years ago. But so they're technically Russian, but yeah, end all and be all, yeah, I've checked more than enough about it and the such. I'm planning on going back to Ukraine, but you can definitely have Russian infiltration. Poland, if you go ahead and see what they got going on, you do some research on it, is that these immigrants, these illegal immigrants and everything, there's a lot of Russian insiders, you know, looking to, a lot of those guys are paid out, they're mercenaries, and they're trying to infiltrate, basically to cause again unrest and disunity, in other, just basically chaos, to a degree, and they're not succeeding at all. Poland's not having it. Europe's kind of playing in hand with that. But one thing I would love to end with is that so we were talking about immigration, and that's where I'm super like my foot has been down. I know who I am. I'm super staunch on, alt right, independent thinking. But the immigration deal, that's the one thing we can debate. That's the one thing we can discuss on.
Well, like my initial question, are you open borders, or do you just want to improve the immigration system, or do you want
Improve.
amnesty? You want mass amnesty? What are your thoughts on it?
So, no open borders. Shut the borders down. Improve the immigration system. Give them a chance. There's a lot of guys, screen them out, dude, with the fine tooth comb. A lot of these guys, a vast majority, they've worked harder than we have. Like these guys do the jobs that we will never do. We're too soft, to a degree. A lot of stuff that would put me in the dirt. But it's again 6 and 7 day weeks. I have not met a freaking Mexican yet, that doesn't do six. It's crazy. This guy works 65 hours a week. He speaks like freaking 7 words in English. I'm doing work on his trailer, and he's got a side business for his day and a half off that he has. And guess what? He's a bigger Trump supporter than I am. It's nuts. He talks to me about how shit Tijuana is, how bullcrap everything is. He started working when he was 16 here, stayed at the same factory or company. It's a big, huge lumber mill. And now it's 25 years later, and like he's plant manager. But even then, it's nuts. These guys are
Does he have
dogs
a
waking up at
citizenship, or does
4:30.
he have a work visa, or none of that?
Citizenship, has citizenship. That company is actually the second largest company that's employing in you do have SpaceX. They might have taken over, but they're the second largest company of employment in Oregon, where I'm at. And a lot of those guys are paid under the table. They like the Mexicans because they put up with the shit. They put up with stupid stuff, man. They just work them to the bone. And they don't give a shit about a lot of those guys have like fingers cut off and shit like that. Not everybody, but just the managers. That's how you get promoted. You're like, how many years have I been working? 3.5 years.
Wait, is your
Whatever.
finger
But
actually cut off?
no, 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 it's not. But I've had
Okay,
three
okay.
different managers. I've had three different managers give me that. That used to be a running joke. It's like, how many years you been working here at Brightwood? It used to be a huge lumber mill here in Oregon. It used to be a big thing until environmentalism and all sort of liberal cockamamie bullshit shut down all the jobs. But lumber, you know. That used to be huge.
What do
But
you
end
think
all and
about
be
the
all.
liberalism of Oregon? I know you said a lot of people are conservative, but by the way, if you guys have any
Mhm.
questions, comments, drop some super chats, double tap the screen, like, subscribe. But yeah, what are your thoughts? I'm not rage baiting. I'm not
Oh,
rage
stop
baiting,
it.
you guys.
Stop it. Who's saying that? Come on, man.
Rage baiting. Just because I
It's
don't like this
brr,
shit. I mean, don't
brr.
all lives matter? Why do only black lives matter? I'm just a little bit confused on that.
Oh, here, you ready for this? They love this one. Black Lives Matter, just not the black people. They don't. Brr. Oh, I've
Jesus.
had pages. I've had books written to me and like hate comments and shit like that. Just even saying that on like a dating app, like back in like 2017. But it's like so true. Black people don't give a fuck about each other. I've been around them, since I was freaking 7. Hey, like get
Is
out of here,
is
man.
that is the George Floyd situation the reason you left Minnesota, or is there other reasons?
No, there's a lot more. George Floyd, I don't care. The black thing, I don't care. But just the whole fact that it was what was it? I had 2 felonies. They were non-pursuant. Thank you, George Floyd. I freaking love George Floyd because those were dismissed by the state because they had bigger fish to fry. But it's
I will
basically
just say I'm
DCA.
very proud of Mr. George Floyd for being 5 years sober. So shout out George Floyd.
Yeah, there's that.
Congratulations on your 5 years of sobriety,
Oh my
sir.
gosh. Yeah, end all and be all. I don't know, man. I just looked at it and I had, African American. I had a half mix like Sicilian and African French. I don't care, well, dude. Why are we seeing these colors? Who cares? It's about your character, So I've known a lot of people. A lot of them happen to be black, but it gets to a point where it's like when this guy's trying to do DoorDash and he's 45 years old, been in St. Paul all his life, and he sees some dude just like blah 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 blah. This is like blotted, just random, just cause, like either it being robbed for, pizza delivery driver type of stuff, or just like, shot 6 times in the face. And it's not reported on the news. It's like nobody cares. You hear gunshots out wherever. You see like burning cars and shit like that. You can't leave your vehicle unattended for anything. You know, it's just like the lawlessness. You
You're
know,
not human. Why are you dehumanizing us? Is it because you don't like our politics? If we dehumanize the liberals for this shit, you're gonna get real pissed
no,
off. Like,
liberals
if you
don't
guys have
know,
any
man.
comments, questions, or if you want to debate next, drop like a $20 super
Mhm.
chat because I already got other people that want to debate. But if you want to wait in line, you can join the Discord. Link in
Let's try to
bio.
wrap it up. Let's try to wrap it up with the immigration. So I will say this for the illegal immigrants that are here, specifically the illegals, there has to be a better process done. Make them pay. Make them pay. I work at Les Schwab Tire Center, and it's a hardcore. Like it used to be known with a huge reputation. Put heavy taxes on them. Get them documented. But if they're willing and like ready to serve for this country, you have so much to gain. We have so much to gain with like, dude, there's no better immigrants that we could have than Latino, period. More family oriented, more marriage oriented, more religious oriented. It's nuts. It's honestly, there's a lot of stuff that would accentuate our culture, but with us just kicking everybody out, and then I read these articles on CNN and all this other stuff, and they're just saying like, I'm just praying to God, it is what it is. I understand that I'm getting it. They're not freaking out like Palestinians or, all these other, minority groups, making a big old storm. They're just saying like, this is our lot in life. And,
They took our
they're just going to
jobs.
God.
I'm
Huh?
just joking. That
What?
comment said they took our jobs.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can
the
join the
Jews.
Discord. It's link in my bio. All you gotta do is click on there and join in. It's not that difficult. But like I said, I already
That's
have
funny.
another debate lined up. If you want to skip over,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
drop a $20 super chat. I love ICE because there's
Anyways,
a lot of criminals that do need to be removed.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot
it's
of
just
people
that.
will complain. Do you think any people are being wrongfully removed? Because I don't think any people are being wrongfully removed.
So you have, for example, you have a wife, she's got two kids with a retired veteran, and because like when she was a juvenile, her mom missed her court date because she was a fuckhead. back in 2018, and now she's being deported. Even though she's husband with, looking for getting her green card. And I feel like,
Well, it might be a sad situation. It might not be the best situation. Maybe some people should be given second chances, but man, at the end of the day, she entered the country illegally. I'm not saying it's the happiest situation. I'm not saying it's the best decision, but it just is what it is.
well, here's the big problem. And so here's another big problem that I have with that. What was that a year ago? Because these guys were getting rolled out the
Biden
red
was
carpet.
president last year. What can we say? He's an open border
Exactly,
kind of
exactly.
fella.
So the last 4 years, it's like we're like freaking stripper, doing drugs. Like as a government, as a country, a stripper doing drugs on her period. Because like last year, we're like handing them out like all sorts of stuff. Hey, you get all this free shit. You're totally legal. We're
Biden was
literally doing
breaking federal
advertisements
law.
to
I don't know
bring
what to
them
tell
over.
you.
Yeah, and that was for 4 years, though. That was for 4 years, and you totally flipped the script on these guys. And like, dude, I literally had my dad. He had somebody who I saw, and this is like hardcore Christian, back from my 12-year-old friends. Super, super orthodox, super Trump supporting, but they're bringing their relatives up. And he had one of the relatives ask, like, "What's the difference between Republican and Democrat?" They don't fucking know. They don't know what China is, you know? But then you get it where it's like, oh, dude, come in. We'll give you free money. We'll give you all this stuff, vote for us. Like housing, you name it, all this bullshit that they're doing in Europe, and
I
everywhere
think
else
your
in the
hand's
world.
on the microphone.
Huh?
Oh, you sound a little bit different now. I'm hearing an echo. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
I got a call from my fiance from Michoacan. Anyways, but I'll give her a call back quick, but I'm gonna have to end this cut this short. But end all and be all is that, like, when we have this law where we go ahead and go about on like illegal, it wasn't illegal a year ago at all. It was quite the opposite. And just where we had this hard stance all of a sudden, it catches all these people, to the sidelines. And it's like if you showed a little bit of grace, not only would you have, how would I say, not only would you have a hardworking community that's stand upish, family oriented, but also you'd have, I don't like putting it this way, but you'd have a hardcore base for the right. You'd have the largest majority or minority that we have here, you know, that is basically their values have gone past for just about 100 years. They haven't been fucked up with all this feminist woke bullshit yet. And like they share our values more than we share our own.
Well, I don't know about that, but maybe more than a lot of the libtards. But I will say, if we're talking about grace, I think Trump has given a lot of people. I mean, he hasn't talked about this in a little bit, but he said that if you self-deport yourself, he will give you $1,000, a plane ticket home, and if you want to re-enter, that'll help you. Come in and find a pathway to citizenship. Now, he hasn't talked about this for a while. He hasn't really made any executive orders, yada yada
Mm.
yada. But it kind of shows that he does have a little bit of Hart, he did say he wanted to help the agriculture workers. He said if they've been here illegally for 20 years working on the farms, that he wants to keep them here because he knows about the agriculture industry. He wants to help them get citizenship or help them come in. But he does have a little bit of heart. Those kind of comments just show you that he has a little bit of heart for them. I mean, like Barack Obama didn't give him $1,000 to self deport and whatnot.
Yeah, true.
If you guys want to, debate or join in, you can join the Discord link in the bio. And yeah, that does show him he has a little bit of heart for this. Now, I don't know about mass amnesty because honestly, that would take, we had mass amnesty
No.
under Ronald Reagan. That took about 2 to 3 years of paperwork processing. That was back when we had 1 million illegal, 1 to 2 million illegal immigrants back then. Now we got 30 million. If we use this kind of mathematics and knowledge, that means it would take us about 10 to 15 years to process all these people's paperworks and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no,
that
I
would take
get
a
that.
very
And you
long
gotta
time.
You gotta kick them out. You gotta break some eggs. You know, that's what, again, that other guy, he's from Michoacan too, and full-time Trump supporter, and only speaks like 3 or 5 words in English. That's what he said. You gotta break some eggs to go and make an omelet. And we're kind of like, on, fallback on the fuck ups that Biden did, just in the degree that, you know, we brought in like open borders means all the criminals and all the freaking, the degenerates of the world can come in. And all the people that hate this country too can go and come in. But I wish that ICE would arrest more of those and less of they're trying to boost up the numbers. They're trying to make their quota and boost up the numbers, and they're going after the good, hardworking illegals and the such instead of like just dude talking with
Give us your take on
hungry people.
fascism. We don't have any fascism in America, but if you guys have any other comments or questions, drop some
Who
super
said
chats. He's
that?
gonna have to go soon, I think. So just let me
Yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I gotta talk to the wifey.
There was never
Anyway,
any open border. Yeah, there was never any open border. No country on this earth has open border policy.
that's
That's
so
correct, good
stupid.
sir.
That's so stupid. Open borders, then it's like, what's the point of having countries? You might as well just have a one world government. You know,
Yeah, and I told the guy the way I changed his mind about open borders is I said, so if you want open borders, that means you don't want background checks, and if you don't want background checks, that's basically saying you're okay with murderers and rapists and woman abusers coming into the country.
right?
And then he
Yeah.
changed his mind completely. Well, he said, "Well, I guess if you put it that way, I don't want people to come in without a background check. They should come in through. They should come in and get a background check." I said, "Oh, so you want them to wait at a port of entry? You want them to come through a border?" He's like, "Well, I guess because." Then he kind of lost it because you can't really defend open borders. I can understand attacking the ICE situation or anything else like that, but when you're like attacking and saying this or that and saying, "Oh, open borders." Like most Democrats don't even support open borders. Like
Think
no
about it.
matter how much
Most
you hate
Democrats.
sorry.
Oh no. Oh, sorry, man. But most Democrats, like they're in their own bubble. Like here in Oregon, dude, most Democrats are in the cities and all of that. They have no idea what goes on in the real world. They have no idea what goes on in Mexico. They have no idea what goes on in Minnesota. Like, dude, they're in their bubble. It's just, you know, when it comes to open borders, they don't see the reality that you have 300,000 kids, like all these like freaking girls and
Yeah,
all of these women that are
300,000 kids
brought
went
over.
missing under President Biden. No one, they
Yeah,
don't like to talk about it. When
exactly.
you bring that up, they scream at the top of their lungs. They say, "Well, the 300,000 kids, they just didn't show up to court." I mean, if they didn't show up to court, we don't know where they are. What the fuck does that mean? That means they went missing. How can you say they aren't missing? They just didn't show up for court. I mean, when people don't show up for court, they usually get a warrant out for their arrest, but they can't even find these people to capture them or nothing. So that means they're missing. That means they're
Yeah,
missing. It's just ridiculous.
exactly. Well, I mean, you have all these other, predators and the such that are coming over the border. Again, all the degenerates and the criminals that are using kids and girls, to get them into the country. Through and through. And then back then, obviously, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, this was like, oh yeah, red carpet, doors wide open. Let's go ahead and pay you a shit ton of money that we don't give to like our own citizens. It's a freaking problem. That's what we're trying to like, retroact. We're trying to, recover, the type of bullshit, where that's why we're deporting so many people. That's why we're deporting
I
everybody.
just
But I
don't
do.
understand how Biden can have open borders and at the same time he deported more people than Trump. Like, why the fuck are you letting 20 million illegal immigrants come into the country, but at the same time you're gonna deport more than Donald Trump? Like, bro, if you're just gonna let them come in, I mean, why are you deporting them? Like, don't waste money on ICE and deportation if you're just gonna let them come in the first place. Just let them stay at that point. I mean, shit.
Yeah. Well, and all we know what this is about, man. It's voter cattle. It's to go ahead and create, delegates and districts and the such, get more congressional seats, and you go ahead and throw all this free money at all these, illegals, and then that's voter cattle. That's it. And then you have a one-party government. That's that. But I'll end it on that.
Yep. All right.
Mhm.
Peace out. Thank you for joining in. That was
Oh
interesting.
yeah, for sure.
Good
Yeah,
discussion.
to have you. Yeah, what's it? I'm gonna talk to my fiance now.
Okay.
Michoacan, Mexico, dude. I'm going there down in like probably like 3 or 4 months. It's only the third deadliest city in the world, but
Stay safe,
whatever,
my
dude.
guy. You're an
I'll
American.
be
You
all
can
right.
handle
I'll be all right.
danger.
I've been around that. Anyways,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Peace out, man.
Peace
Good
out.
luck.
Thanks.
Yep.
If you guys have any questions, comments, anything you want me to talk about, drop some super chats. We're probably going to get another guest in here in a minute or so. Guys, it's the last day of the month. If you have any comments, questions, drop some super chats. If you want to see me do 300 to 400 push-ups, drop a $20 super chat. I'll do it. Or 100 push-ups for a $10 super chat. How about that, guys? How does that sound? Let's go. Any comments, questions? Double tap that screen. Like, subscribe. I'm probably going to get the other guest in here in a minute or two. Yep, pray. Hello from Sarasota, Florida. I'm also from Southwest Florida. We're pretty close to each other. Any final questions or comments or anything you guys want me to talk about? The woke mind virus? Libtarded? If you have any comments, questions, here's your final chance. Final 60-second warning. Drop some super chats. Or if someone drops, a $20 super chat, like I said, I'll do a 300 to 400 push-ups or 100 push-ups for a $10 super chat. Let's get it, guys. Let's get it. Harris laughing like a hyena. 100%. 100%. I said I'll let you in a minute. All right, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button. No, I said 100 push-ups for a $10 super chat. It's the end of the month, guys. 100 push-ups for a $10 super chat. Hit that like button, subscribe. What's the reason you don't agree with them? I don't know what you mean by that. No clue what you mean by that. Thank you for subscribing. Double tap that screen, guys. Double tap that screen. MAGA keeps winning. All right, guys. We're going to get the next guest in here now. Appreciate you guys, though. Peace out.